Welcome back to the Danielle Smith Series. This is the 5th episode, and we continue with our multi-part story in Danielle Smith in Imaginationland, Part 2. Let's first recap what happened last time. In the last episode, Danielle Smith began her first visit to Imaginationland with her parents, John and Linda, where she met lots of imaginary characters from various stories and ended up being grounded to her room by Ariel for selling out Oliver Twist. And now we pick up where we left off. Here we go.
Well, Danielle, are you ready to apologize to Oliver for selling him out?
Yes, Ariel.
Ariel released her from the room and took her back to the banquet hall where Oliver was waiting to see her. She held out her hand and he took it.
I'm truly very sorry I sold you out, Oliver.
That's all right, Danielle. It's how my adventures began, remember?
They shook hands, sealing the apology and officially counting as their first meeting. John and Linda joined them with another familiar face in tow.
My goodness, Pip, how jolly nice to meet you.
Danielle recognized the young man at once as Pip from Great Expectations.
It's jolly nice to meet you too, Danielle.
Just then, a beautiful young woman and a handsome young man appeared at Pip's sides. Danielle looked up at them and realized who they were. They were Estella and Mr. Pocket, and they were all pleased to meet each other. After a good night's sleep, Danielle was ready for her adventure to continue.
As were John and Linda. However, they'd arranged for me to take flight in the famous magical motor car, Chitty, Chitty, Bang, Bang, and my escort on this journey was going to be the eccentric inventor, Caractacus Potts, who had come to pick me up. I couldn't believe I was going on a journey with one of my favorite characters from one of my favorite children's novels, and I was so excited.
Pleasure to meet you, Danielle. Ready for an adventure?
Absolutely.
She shook his hand and went with him. As they took to the skies in the famous flying motor car, he pointed out places of interest as they passed over them.
Look over there, Danielle.
Wow, this is incredible.
They landed in a village where lots of little blue creatures in white pointy hats lived. They were in the Smurf village and they observed the creatures running around doing their jobs.
Look at them go. They're so busy.
Yes, indeed. Always something happening in Smurf Village.
After a while, he took her to their next stop, a town inhabited by characters from Dr. Seuss books.
Welcome to Seussville.
Oh my goodness. There's the Cat in the Hat being daft, the Who's roaming around happily, and the Lorax just helping people.
Before they were noticed, he moved them on to a city where lots of different characters lived. She saw centaurs, fairies, gnomes, wizards, and all sorts of imaginary characters from different creators.
This is amazing.
This was the imaginary capital, and some very important characters wanted to meet her.
Danielle, I'd like you to meet King Arthur, the king of Imaginationland, and Mayor Candycorn, a mix of a unicorn, and a man composed entirely of sweets.
Welcome, Danielle. We are very happy to meet you.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
They welcomed her very warmly. After a while, Caractacus Potts ushered her back to Chitty and returned her to the royal palace where John and Linda were waiting to greet her, and thank Mr. Potts for taking her on the adventure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Potts. This was the best day ever.
It was a pleasure, Danielle. Goodbye.
He said goodbye and went on his way. That's it for part 2. Stay tuned for part 3, coming soon.